What is up, everybody? It's Connor from Unscripted, back again with another video. In today's video, we are previewing day 3 of the CDL Super Week, and as always, we'll be doing it off the script. So before we get into the video, don't forget to drop a like on it if you enjoy. Leave a comment down below in the comments section letting me know who your predictions are for these day 3 matches, and subscribe to the channel as well if you're new if you enjoy the video, and let's get right into it. So, we are kicking things off with the London Royal Ravens taking on the Dallas Empire. So London is coming off a very ugly loss in yesterday's matches to the New York Subliners. That was a beatdown. There's no two ways around that. They got smoked. ASIM went like 13-1 in the search and destroy. London got smoked in that. They lost the hard point. They lost the control bad. Clayster went like 20-6. All around ugly series for London. I know in the control, Parasite had, not that he played well, but he had more kills than his next two teammates combined had kills. He had 14. I think it was 6, 6, and 5. So really ugly in the slaying department from the London Royal Ravens. Just nothing going their way at all against the New York team, who's not bad, but they're not elite either. They're right in the middle of the pack. So coming off of that loss, they're taking on the Dallas Empire. Does not get much harder than that in terms of a matchup. Dallas, a very good respawn team, one of the best in the league. They're okay at search too, probably in the top half of the league. Just a very solid team, obviously. They're defending champs. What can you say about them? So, not the matchup the London Royal Ravens probably wanted to pull coming off a tough loss to the New York Subliners. And there's not really much to say about this one. I expect a pretty easy, honestly, 3-0 series victory for the Dallas Empire. I just don't see it with London. I think they're definitively the worst team in the CDL until proven otherwise. They don't have the slaying power. They don't have the team chemistry. They just don't have anything going for them. I mean, it might be like rude or blunt, but that's just the way it is. They don't have anything going for them. Unless they can very quickly turn things around, they will be comfortably in the bottom of the league until they can, prove otherwise. But for now, they're down there at the bottom. Dallas towards the top. So yeah, no matter what the maps are, no matter who's playing well and who's not playing well, I struggle to see anything but a Dallas Empire 3-0 victory in this series. So moving right along to the next one, we have, as you see, the Los Angeles Thieves versus the Seattle Surge. Seattle also coming off a 3-0 loss in yesterday's games. That was to the Minnesota Rocker in a series that wasn't a total blowout. 3-0 is 3-0, but the Surge went to round 11, and that's a very good Surge team in the Minnesota Rocker. And then the Control was also very close as well. The hard point wasn't super close, but it wasn't a complete blowout. But they're facing against an LA Thieves team who is very strong in their respawns. They looked phenomenal. Just against the New York Subliners, really. And who else did they play? Minnesota. That's who it was. They looked better against Minnesota. They destroyed Minnesota in the respawns. It wasn't even close. And for Seattle, I mean, that's usually going to be their edge. If they have an edge in a series, it's going to be in the respawns. It won't be through the searches. They're not a very good search team, but they don't have the edge in the respawns in this. I think the LA Thieves are a top 4, I'll say, respawn team in the league. They're up there with FaZe, Dallas, and OpTic Chicago, so they're solid. No ways around that. They have some serious slaying power. Kenny, if he keeps playing the way he played last week, they're going to do some damage. Slasher, TJ, and Temp, they all played well as well. I mean, it was a team effort for them to start 2-0. They're going to look to improve to 3-0, and I think they're going to get it done against Seattle. I don't see a path for Seattle to victory in this one. If Octane and Gunless really got going in the slaying, maybe they can make it close. I mean, maybe they could steal a search because, I said Seattle not a great search team, but that is LA Thieves' weakness as well. So maybe if things really went their way, Seattle could steal a search and destroy, but I'm surely not going to predict that. So I will predict another 3-0, this time in favor of the LA Thieves. Might be noticing a trend here. We had 3 3-0s in yesterday's matches, and so far I expect 2 3-0s in these matches. So what are you going to do? I mean, that's the way these matchups go sometimes. Coming into this Super Week, I didn't think there were many super intriguing matches in the first half of the week. There's some get better in the second half, but, this is about what I expected. I expected blowouts yesterday, and I expect more blowouts today. But then we do get to an interesting matchup finally on this day 3. We have the Toronto Ultra taking on OpTic Chicago. So this could be a fun series. Toronto looked pretty solid against Atlanta FaZe. They did not get the win, but they should have won the raid hardpoint. They got a really bad spawn for the final hill in the garden where FaZe was gifted literally a 4-way pinch. They had one guy come stairs, one guy come ring or pillars, one guy kitchen, and one guy zig. So how can Toronto possibly defend that? If FaZe didn't get that lucky spawn, Toronto win that, and then they went out and they took it to FaZe in the search, winning, I believe, 6-3, before ultimately falling in the control, and then the second hard point they kind of got smoked in those two. So it was a good start for them. They slowed off as the game went on, but across from them will be the OpTic Chicago team that I will favor in the hard points in this, especially the Toronto that we saw in the second half of that phase series. They were getting beat pretty handily, honestly, in the slaying department and in the respawns just in general by a team and in the Atlanta FaZe who they went 1-2 in the respawns against OpTic Chicago in their matchup. So FaZe is definitely a good respawn team for sure, but I do think I would give OpTic Chicago the edge over FaZe when it comes to respawns. So then, transitive property of math, I have to give OpTic Chicago the edge over the Toronto Ultra in the respawns as well. Now, that does not mean that Toronto can't compete with them. They definitely can, because we saw it in that first hard point with the Atlanta FaZe. Like I said, they should have won. They played very well. Now, the search can be interesting between these two teams for sure. OpTic Chicago, as we saw in the opening weekend, not a solid search team, at least just in those two maps. It was only two maps, and it was against a top 2 search and destroy team in the league in the Atlanta FaZe. So you can't just look at those two maps and say, oh my gosh, they lost 12-1, they're horrible at search. They're definitely not elite at search. They are not better than teams like Atlanta or Minnesota Rocker, or who else am I thinking? I'm not FaZe. Dallas, I'd probably give the edge over Chicago. LAG, I'd give the edge over Chicago in search. There's some good search teams. OpTic, they're right in the middle of the pack, in my opinion, in search and destroy. But Toronto, if they play in search the way they played against the Atlanta FaZe, they are favored over OpTic in search, no doubt in my mind. However, I do think OpTic is better at search than they showed against Atlanta last time. And I don't know why, but I kind of have a feeling OpTic could pull this search and destroy. I don't know. I just call it a hunch. Maybe they'll come out and they'll get smoked again, and then it's time to start worrying. But until then, until it happens consistently, I still think they just have good individual search players. All of them are solid at search. Dashy and Envoy are elite at search. Scump and Formal are good at search. They're good enough. So I think as individuals, they're good. And of course, they all have great IQ of the game. They know where to be. Their map awareness is good. They have a good coach who has definitely been working on their search and destroy strats with them. They have a good in-game leader too, and I believe Envoy, and maybe in the Hex's vlog, maybe it's not Envoy anymore, but I'm pretty sure Envoy is going to remain their in-game leader. So I will say the OpTic Chicago will beat the Toronto Ultra. I'll say 3-1, so obviously that might make you think, well, if you think they're the better respawn team, what map are they going to drop? So maybe they will drop the search. I don't know. I don't think they're going to 3-0 Toronto. I think Toronto is too good for that. And in a game, I keep harping on it, but a game mode like Control, kind of one lucky break here and there, and all of a sudden you can easily win a Control. So between the search and the Control, I do think Toronto will probably be able to take a map off of OpTic, but I have a good feeling about OpTic. They've been looking pretty solid in scrims. I know it's only scrims, that does not mean everything, but they played Dallas pretty well. They played Dallas actually beautifully in Control. They pretty much dominated them in Control. They just played Paris in 5 hard points, and I think they won all 5, maybe only 4, I don't know. But regardless, they're just a really good respawn team, and on paper, they have the edge over Toronto. They have the better AR in Formal versus Methods. They have the better flex. I mean, they pretty much have the best flex in the league, in my opinion, in Dashy. And then the sub duo, I probably have to favor OpTic as well. It's a little bit, if Bance plays the way he played in that search and destroy, all of a sudden it's a little interesting. But overall, I give the advantage to OpTic Chicago pretty much everywhere in terms of on paper. Now it's just going to come down to their strats and their communications, how they're going to play and if they show up. But I think they will. I think they'll take the series 3-1. So finally we'll have something that's not a 3-0. But yeah, overall on the day, I expect Dallas to win 3-0 against London in a complete blowout. That might be ugly. Clayster tweeted that New York beat London in a speed run, basically like it was as fast as we could do it. I think Dallas might beat them. They might get it done faster than New York did. I think LA will take this map with Seattle Surge, not the map, the match. I always get those words confused. The match with Seattle Surge 3-0 as well. And then I think OpTic Chicago will be able to take the series off Toronto Ultra 3-1, and that would have OpTic looking pretty good to get in the winner's bracket, probably the 2 seed from their side of the bracket for the first major. So that would be a big win for them. They have to play Florida, and they have to play, who else do they have to play? Is that it? Let's find out. They play Florida. I guess that is it. That doesn't sound right to me. Oh, LAG, right there it is. Yeah, I thought they played LAG. So yeah, OpTic will be looking, this is definitely the toughest game they have left, this one here with Toronto. So if they can win this, they're looking pretty solid to be the 2 seed at least in their side of the bracket going into the major. So good news for them there. But yeah, that is going to wrap up this video. That's how I feel about these matches today in day 3 of Super Week. I'm looking forward to watching them for sure. I think these teams, whether the matches are close or not, we're going to get to see some good teams play. You know, Dallas, great team, Los Angeles, OpTic, and Toronto, all good teams. Should be some quality Call of Duty being played today. I hope you enjoy them. I know I will. So I will be back. I probably won't be able to recap these matches, unfortunately, so I'll probably be back again tomorrow with another preview of those matches, you know, just constant previews and predictions for me. That's the way it's going to be this week, but regardless, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the matches, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.